Hey, Greg, how are you?
Hey, Keith, good to see you again.
Yeah, same here. Well, we're a little late this week. Today's Friday. Not like us. We must be getting lazy, old, or just busy.
I think it's the time of year.
Yeah, no question about it. Yeah, it's the good news is you and I are very busy. Thank God for that.
Right.
And um, and I'm real happy to hear that you've been able through your focal point partnership and franchise, you've been able to actually book your own, I should say, they're able to book appointments for you with people to interview. So I'd like to understand a little bit more about that
Sure.
and um, how you feel it's going. And then I'm going to add some of my own thoughts about why I think this is great. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
really excited about this. So
Yeah.
let it rip.
Yeah. So I got connected with this marketing firm through Focal Point, and basically what they're doing for me is I provided them with sort of my ideal client. Then they go out and find those individuals and check and ask them if they'd be interested in being interviewed on a podcast. So they arrange the meetup time. Then I interview the individual. We do about a 30-minute podcast, and I'm really asking them about their business. I mean, I'm really trying to find out more about their entrepreneurial journey, what their business does, challenges they're facing. We get a good similar to what you and I do. We get a good discussion going, not not pre-planned or anything like that, but I have a series of questions that I like to ask. And we just have a good discussion. And then the marketing firm um, does the does kind of the back end where they edit the video, the podcast. They prepare some snippets, and then we get it posted to my YouTube channel. The snippets we're posting to LinkedIn. And the whole idea is, as you said, is to really generate more interest and have some discussions with folks who are, I'm looking to connect with. Whether sometime in the future they actually become clients or perhaps they connect me with others like themselves.
That's great. So what is the targets that you've been giving them, specific industries?
Uh, Not too much in the way of specific industries, size, and individuals who are um, I've asked for individuals who are relatively new to entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
I would say that's only worked out with one of the three that they've been, new to entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
Um, Again, I wouldn't say they hit necessarily the target right on the bullseye with individuals, but they've been, I've done three of them now, and they've been three quality business owners, like serious business owners who are, you know, demonstrating success as an entrepreneur, and I think have some really valid um, points to make during our interview with regard to entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
their specific journey, and their business.
Now, would you say that, well, not would you say, are they young in age or young in their business careers or both?
um, I would say both. Um, the first two were probably in their 30s.
Mhm.
The last one, she was probably a little older than that, maybe in her 40s. I always hate to guess women's age because I'm terrible at it, but that was just my impression of from what I gathered.
Mhm.
And like I said, I would like, my ideal client is somebody new to entrepreneurship. These were individuals who, have been entrepreneurs. Two of the three probably have 10 years of entrepreneurial experience, business ownership. one of them was much newer to the entrepreneur scale than the other two.
Now, were you able to determine from the interview where their needs are?
Well, that's one of the things I'm doing with the questions I'm asking, is trying to find where are there specific areas where I might be able to help them. So I go back to, again, my kind of 4 points of things that I look to coach around, which is time, team building, growth, and strategy. So I'm asking questions around those topics, right? Work-life balance, future plans, right? I ask them what their future plans are, right? So yes, from a standpoint of really trying to see, during the interview, are there pain points that come out of our discussion?
Now, do you get a sense from your questions of what they were looking to get out of being interviewed? Was there something in it for them?
Well, I think for the most part, these three have just been individuals who have wanted to, I would say, give back, right? They're willing to give a little bit of their time to talk about their business.
Okay.
Now, whether, they've got access to the video as well. So if it's something they want to use,
Okay.
they're certainly welcome to do that. One of the things I do at the end of the interview, after we're done recording, is I offer them, as a thank you, a free coaching session. Just an opportunity for them to, ask any questions they may have, cover anything in their business that maybe they, haven't wanted to talk about with their leadership team, or, maybe there's something they just want a third party to kind of hear and get a different perspective.
Now, the three of them, were they in different industries?
Yes. Yeah. So one he leads a medical device company.
Okay.
The second one was a logistics company.
Mhm.
And the third one was a marketing firm.
Great.
So three quite different industries.
That's great. So would you say that they're also looking to get their personal brand out there in terms of being
Well,
one?
certainly. The first guy I interviewed, Jason, he definitely was interested in networking. And you don't always find that in busy entrepreneurs, right? Because they feel like they just don't have the time to do that. And yet it came up during our discussion that that's something he really wanted to be able to do.
Mhm.
This last one that I did, her name was Jen. She actually leads another group that's a group of companies who are coming together and sort of figuring out how they can market their business more effectively. So it's just this random group of business owners that come together. I forget the name of the organization, but I know I have it written down. I think it's called like OM or something like that, like organizational marketing or something like that. But there's an example of an entrepreneur who's taking on more than just running their business. Although I think she sees value in connecting with those kind of folks, given that she runs a marketing company. Could these be potential clients of hers at some point?
Yeah, obviously, when someone is coming on a show that's focused on entrepreneurship, they want something out of it too. It could be building their own personal brand, their company brand, or, of course, getting new business. So all these things, and what's really interesting about this topic is because it goes to business building. How do you build a brand, whether it's a personal brand, a business brand, and how important it is to be out there. as often as possible, with regular postings and things like that. Of course, B2B is mostly a LinkedIn strategy,
Right.
direct email. But certainly, the more you're willing to do, the better your chances are of getting clients. There's no big
Right.
secret here. It's, the more repetition in, marketing yourself and your company, the better the opportunities are. So what is your goal, and what have they given you in terms of assurances based on their past history of success?
Yeah, I mean, my goal would be, kind of twofold. One is if they are interested in a coaching relationship, I would like to be their business coach, whether that's today or whether that's sometime in the future. The second is I would like to get connected to more individuals like themselves, right? So so I would like to network into their network, so to speak, right? Because again, those a couple of things. One is they can maybe they can't refer me as saying, well, Greg's been my coach, but they can at least say, I've done a podcast with Greg. I've spoken with him on a couple of occasions. I think he's somebody you should talk to if you got some things within your business you're looking to address.
All right, so referrals, and there's nothing better
Yeah,
than referrals.
exactly. Yeah. And as you
So,
said, I think another benefit of it is just it's more opportunity for for me personally to get kind of out there in the social media world, LinkedIn, YouTube, that sort of thing, and having more content, I think it's always a good thing.
right.
It's definitely a long game strategy. I think, I mean, it's definitely geared, like you said it before about building a brand. You don't build a brand overnight, right? It takes time, it takes effort, it takes some patience, but it takes there's this consistency that I think is needed if you're brand building.
Yeah, marketing in general is about consistency, because you're out of sight, out of mind. And since
Right.
we live in a society that they used to say it's a 6 second attention span, I think it's down to 3.
Yeah.
So it's just we're bombarded with information. So it's like, how do you get above the fray, so to speak? It's part of is giving something before you get something. What kind of
Right.
value are you providing without asking somebody to write a check? It could
Right.
be you offered a free coaching session. Okay,
Yeah.
no obligation, nothing to buy. Just you want to show them what you do.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. No, it's exactly because we've talked before about this, Keith, right? The business we're in isn't transactional, it's relational. So folks aren't going to just call us up and say, hey, I need a coaching session. They're gonna want to get to know us. They're gonna want to build a relationship, a rapport, and get comfortable with you, me, us as coaches to really identify, to really say, yeah, this is somebody I think who I can rely on to help me overcome the challenges I'm facing in my business, whatever those might be.
So, I'm thinking about, you said playing the long game. There's no question that, marketing is a long game. The short game is, and it depends on what the product or service that you're selling. If you're selling pizza, people eat every day. You
Right.
put out an ad, oh, I'm hungry, there's $1 off a slice, so yeah, I love that place, I'm going there. So you can create immediate reaction. Coaching is long term. Are you catching somebody at a time where they need it? You could, engage with somebody in a podcast today, have a great conversation, no need. Guess what happens? Stay in touch, you have a relationship, you know, 6 months from now, they may have a particular problem and they say, you know what? I gotta call Greg. You know, it's like, I want to ask him. I think now is the time I need a coach.
Right. But if I just disappear, if I don't stay in front of them or continue to put content out there, yeah, they'll forget about it. Right. I mean,
Out of sight, out of mind, no question.
yeah, yeah, as you just said, and there's so much going on in their worlds that, as you just said, 3-6 months later, they're not gonna remember who they talked to on a podcast because so much has happened during that
Oh yeah.
that time frame.
We're all on information overload, constant emails and texts.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
sometimes you say, I think I met that person before. And it's like, oh wow,
Yeah.
what was that?
I liked what you said just a minute ago there, Keith, about, your brand building for the long term, but you used that example of a company that, certainly for you and I, we just said, we're not a transactional business, we're a relationship business. But there are businesses out there that, are transactional, but are also trying to build a brand, right? So yeah, you might put an ad out there for your pizza and it's $1 off and somebody takes advantage of that. But you're also in that situation trying to build loyalty, right? So that client always comes back to you when they want pizza. Right?
Whether there's $1 off or not,
Right.
You're their main pizza place.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So that is the loyalty part of it. And you're always building relationships. They're just different. You know, a pizza place, you may see the client once or twice a week. A coach, when the coaching's over that session or that, however long that they're signed up for. Okay, what happens after that? How do you stay in contact? Again, follow up, follow through has a big part of getting referrals.
Yeah.
So it can't be, yeah, I helped you, but all right, you're no longer paying me. No, what I always did is I always told clients, look, it doesn't matter whether we're in contract or not in contract. I'm a coach. I'm your coach. We've worked together. Call me. Okay,
Yeah.
Just ask a question. I'm not charging you. This is
right.
Our relationship. Yes, say, look, I need another, 3 months because I have a specific problem. We go back into the coaching relationship. But once a coach, always a coach. And what you have a relationship, you build on that. The way to get referrals is to be there for them, even when they're not paying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, and that's the nature of this role is that I think a client is, a client for a lifetime, right? And if they do have an issue, a question, and like you said, you're not coaching them anymore, I would rather they call me than somebody they don't know or and not because would I like them to come back to me as a client? Sure. But mostly I want to take advantage of the fact that I know their business, I know them, right? I've developed this relationship. They present a challenge or an issue they're going through, and now I've got this background because I've dealt with them. I know more about them than another coach who they haven't talked to before, and I feel like that gives me a much better position to advise them at that point.
No doubt. You've gained the confidence. You've done a good job, and if you disappear, it's like there's no relationship there. It was just a transaction.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't develop a relationship.
The last thing you want to create is an impression of that I'm only here if you're paying me. Right? I mean, that's you're not doing this for that reason, and I'm not either. I mean, do we like to get paid? Yes, we like to get paid. But when I decided to do this, I wanted to do this because I felt like I had valuable insights and experiences to share with business owners, and that the value of what I had to offer may help them avoid some of the mistakes that I've made or I've seen others make, help them get, I think so many small business owners have the trouble of They just don't solve issues. They kind of let issues sit there. And I've seen that happen, and it's like a cancer, right? So helping
Doesn't
them
get better.
address, what's that?
Doesn't get better.
No, no, it gets worse. You know, if you ignore it, it's like a health issue, right? It's you've got you got an issue, you don't go to the doctor. Do things go away on their own? I guess sometimes they do, but more than likely they get worse. They fester. Uh, my left knee hurts, right? And it's been hurting for a long time. And I'm finally going to go and do something about it because it's really starting to aggravate me. So if I just continue to ignore it, it isn't going to get better on its own.
And the problem is that there's a proactive approach in business and then a reactive approach. Proactive is you see a leak, you don't wait till there's a flood.
Right.
You call somebody, you say, look, I have a leak, I need you to come down and take a look and patch it, whether it's your landlord or whatever, get it done. I think we've all suffered from that of why didn't I do this, when it first happened,
Yeah.
But, I was thinking about something when it comes to that, having a client for life, whether they're in contract or out of contract at that time. Something as simple as you pick up a phone and you say, you check in on them. Hey,
Yeah.
John, how you doing? I just want to check in, I haven't spoken to you in a while. I just want to make sure everything's okay. And
Yeah.
see if you have any questions. That is, there's nothing better than that for that good feel between a client, and a coach.
Yeah.
You're almost like a friend at that point. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it becomes more personal. And from for a relationship and a referral perspective, think about that. Someone's out to dinner, that's your client, and they're out with another friend. Hey, John, what's happening? How's the business? Last time I spoke to you, you were having problems. It was a little slow and you lost some help. How's it going? And they start to complain. And he says, well, how you doing? I said, well, I have to tell you, last time we spoke, I was having problems, but I made a really important decision. Okay. And I hired an expert to come in and help me see things I couldn't see.
Right.
So that's the difference between making an impression that's lasting.
Well, because I want a client who will speak well of me, today, tomorrow, and a year from now, and 10 years from now. Right. And if I'm not following up with them, again, not because I'm looking for business necessarily, but just because I want to know things are going well for them. Because let's say you have a client and then at some point they're no longer a client and their business starts to deteriorate and you're not checking in with them, once a quarter or however often makes sense. And the business starts to deteriorate, in my mind, it reflects poorly on me. Right? I don't want them to just to be successful while I'm coaching them. I want them to be successful way after the time I've coached them, because that's where the real value comes. Right? I don't want to attach myself to any client forever in terms of having a ongoing coaching relationship with them. I want them to be able to take what I have to offer and be able to bake that into their business.
And something, and you can bake into it, a certain amount of maintenance
Yeah.
and or if they need, something that's more than just a phone call, listen, you can book me by the hour.
Right.
If you need an hour of my time that you really want, it's like, you go see a therapist or a doctor, it's like, I need something more than just one question answered. But I'm saying these are part of establishing the relationship. And I call it the rules of engagement in a way that's professional, respectful, and there's a clear understanding between two people of how this works.
Yeah.
And what happens after you leave is the key to whether you've done a good job.
I totally agree. And I think it's also the actions as opposed to the words. Yes, words are important, but it's my actions after after we've had the coaching relationship, that I think go to your point of saying, I really care for that client and I want to see that client be successful well after I've been coaching them. And that's not just that's something I want all of my clients to have. Not just because, from a personal standpoint, it's beneficial for me if they do well, but I want to see them do well. I mean, I want them to succeed. I wouldn't, if it was somebody who I didn't, connect with or care for, I wouldn't get into a coaching relationship with them in the first place. But once I've determined that, I'm going to coach somebody, I really feel like I got a vested interest in them and their business.
No question about it. And doing a good job for somebody, and we could cover this in more depth on another episode, is so important that people know that you care. And I have to go back to my eyeglass selling days. I would help them pick a frame for their face that wasn't just like, I want to sell them the most expensive thing. Of course I wanted to sell something that was expensive, but it had to look good. I had to look at them and go, wow, what a difference that makes, compared to what you were wearing, and nothing made me happier than when they picked it up and they looked in the mirror and they go, wow, that's great. And they get compliments, they come in for an adjustment. Hey, how did everybody like your glasses? Oh, everybody loved it. My children, they thought I looked 10 years younger. And it's like, because it's a fashion business. I mean, it became a fashion business, 40 years ago when I started, and it was really expanding into fashion. If you remember when we were kids, what glasses looked like, it was like, you looked at the pointy ones and the black, just horrible.
There was like two choices, right?
Exactly.
Round or square.
There was no fashion involved. So I want to end on a very important part of the episode, which comes down to your decision. You chose a vendor, of course, that was, certainly Focal Point recommended them. So obviously they made that choice. So far, and it's only been 3 episodes,
right?
Have they lived up to what your expectations were?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they've delivered everything they said that they would deliver. They've provided me, I think, 3 really quality individuals to interview on these podcasts. They've done the scheduling. If I had any questions along the way, they've helped me prepare for what that podcast is going to look like. They've done the back end piece of it, which is helping me get the actual video prepared. And they've reached out, as we were just talking, they've reached out and asked, hey, is there anything you need right now? Is everything good, or is there something you've got questions about? And of course, they're trying to develop me as a customer, right? That's their approach is, hey, here's an opportunity to try us out. 3 opportunities at no charge. And then after that, we can either part ways, or we can talk about a longer term relationship. So I've been very, very impressed with what they do.
Gotten to having to pay them yet? The first 3 were on them.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So now you have to make a decision. Do you want to continue on and to some plan that they have for doing this?
And the other thing I like, at least about what the discussions we've had along those lines, is while they do have, kind of pricing plans, they've also said, we'll work with you. You tell us what it is, you can afford, or you want from this, and we'll try and work with you to make that happen. They didn't guarantee it, obviously, but my point is they're willing to be flexible in terms of, hey, it's not just you pick tier 1, 2, or 3. Tell us what you're looking for, and we'll adapt to what your needs are to the best of our ability.
Sounds like, you know, they are well-run, well-oiled machine, and they're building long-term.
Yes, I
Yeah.
would agree.
So,
Yeah.
well, this was very interesting, and I enjoyed this.
Yeah,
And we're getting closer to Christmas,
we are.
and I'll be away the week of Christmas, by the way. I'll be in Vegas.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Looking forward to that.
I'm excited for your trip out there.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. So, are you going away at all, or you'll be home?
No, I'm gonna stay here. Yeah. Yeah,
See
I
the
don't like
family on
traveling the
Christmas Day?
holidays. And all my family is close by. So we'll get together. We're actually gonna get together on the day after Christmas for our family event.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right, so enjoy, and we'll talk next week.
Yes.
And the week of Christmas, I'm going to take off. So
Yeah.
well as
Yeah.
well. And we'll
It's
go
the
from there.
holidays, so I think folks probably, I'm hoping, are focused on things other than their business. And I know for business owners, that never goes away, but hopefully they can take the time to have some family time and reflect on the past year and think about next year.
Terrific. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Keith.